So the gambling ring. Wait, what?
I was born and raised in Clifton Heights, Pennsylvania. Went to Cardinal O'Hara High School.
So this looks pretty good, actually.
I worked as a waiter at Lewis's restaurant. That's where my love affair with gambling began. There was a gentleman who used to own supermarkets throughout the whole Delaware County. His name was Mike Rainier. One time, he was sitting at the bar, and he was pretty fucked up.
Give it back.
He looked at me and smiled. He goes, you want to go out to Vegas? He goes, I need you to bring this package out for me, and I'll pay you $500. The package was $50,000. But he goes, you got to strap it to your body. So I said, wait, what do you mean strap it to my body? So lift up my shirt, got in the plane, and that's when it all began. Three out of 4 weekends per month, I was out to Vegas. So I got paid to make bets. I got paid to drop off money. I'm like, fuck, I'm making a few grand a week. This was the American dream for a young kid. So as this time continued, I started to do some stuff on my own. I was working with a group at that time called we called ourselves the Animals. We used to sit in a gambling office all day long and just book and bet. We would be betting hundreds of thousands of dollars on the games. People wanted our services because we had an array of outs in Philadelphia, North Jersey, Connecticut. They were long days. I mean, days we used to sit in the offices. In my early days, we were in the office 10, 14 hours, you know, because we were so afraid that we left the office that we would miss a number. And missing a number cost us money. And we didn't like when it cost us money, it hurt our group. We built our company on inside information. Someone being in the locker room, getting that information, getting that quarterback that was out all night at the strip club, fucking a stripper, okay, and he was all coked up, and he came to practice late in the morning. The basis of our company was built on the best information to capitalize on it, to make a score on somebody. So I'm getting the information, but me being my personality, an addictive personality, I wanted it all. So what did I do? I go get the guy with the golden goose.
So Tim Donaghy is a really interesting ref when you look at his report card. All NBA referees are graded on how good they are at being referees, and he was ranked really, really highly. And keep in mind, this is a pool of talent, just like the players, that is drawn from many, many other tiers. You know, he, like a lot of refs, started with high school basketball games and worked his way up. And there's very low turnover among referees. So when you finally make it to refereeing in the pros, just like being a player, you're dealing with the best of the best of the best. And there's very little margin for error and how poorly you can perform your job. So prior to the scandal breaking, he was actually seen as a pretty good ref.
You know, I knew who he was in high school. I played football with his brother Jimmy. His brother Jimmy was a great athlete. Timmy was a decent athlete himself, a little arrogant, obnoxious. I knew at this point he became an NBA referee. I knew who he was, and I didn't think at that point, like, you know, here I am escalating up the scale in my life as a gambler, that, you know, I'm going to contact an NBA official. There was a few games that I thought that were noteworthy that he transformed. Spurs were playing Charlotte Hornets, and I remember within the first quarter, Tim Duncan had 2 fouls called on him. They're going to sit him. That changes everything. I'm like, man, this guy can call a game great.
So the arrangement that Donaghy had is that he was paid $5,000 for every win and nothing, he had no losses if he lost.
Oh, that's
so in other
it?
words, he had nothing to lose. At one point, Jimmy
this
Batista
camera,
was
though.
calling Tim Donaghy Elvis, which speaks to
xQc
how good he was at helping him win.
Certain fouls weren't called at the beginning of the game. Certain travel calls weren't called, but it just wasn't him. It was like little friendly bets that they had amongst themselves. I played 15 years in the NBA, starting year 2000, ended in 15. Had a great career. Dealt with the refs a lot, had a lot of interaction, some good, some bad. You might like laugh and joke after the game, or you don't get some calls during the course of the game. You like, man, they did us in, but you don't really think that. You know what I'm saying? You not think that they are actually cheating. know what I'm saying? Like, that's not part of your thought process. You might, after the game, it's over. You know what I'm saying? But in this case, nah, it was an ongoing thing.
Tim Donaghy was not only just betting on the games, but he was also refereeing games in which he had a stake in the outcome.
We also made a deal kind of that I said, there's got to be games that you have.
This game is fun with multiple people.
Like you're in the locker room, you know what's going on, you're hearing things, whatever. If you see a game that is something that we want to double our bet or triple our bet on, we're going to call it a schmaga. It was code words. So this is a significant word because Schmaga was a Down syndrome boy that grew up with us that everyone loved. And everyone loved Joey. So we called him Schmaga. With our wins and the Schmagas together, it was like over $227,000 I paid, $225,000 I paid him.
One of the things that's incredible about how he ended up getting caught is it wasn't through the NBA's internal protocols, and it wasn't even because the FBI was looking for him.
At this point, when you're taking millions of dollars out of the gambling market and people are pretty pissed, they're thinking that something's going on.
In 2007, the FBI is investigating the mob, and Donaghy ended up being kind of a side character in what they were originally focused on.
The FBI section of the Gambino investigators had put up a wire through some sort of probable cause. I don't know what that was, but Tim was picked up with conversations between the other cooperator, and they then knew him. They just followed that and knew that there was a corrupt NBA official.
Dude, that's insane, dude. That would make him not want to compete at all.
47-month sex.
She said, you better come home.
My now
She
girlfriend
said,
watch you together.
there's two FBI
But anyways, I love
officers
you,
at the end of the
chat's
driveway looking for you. So I came home and lo and behold, I parked the car, the kids are in the driveway. And first thing I want to say, guys, go in, I'll be right in. You know, I didn't want to have it in front of my kids. And, you know, we know you gamble, we're working with any type of NBA officials or handicappers or anything like that. And I said, I don't know what you're talking about. And he goes, come on, Chief, we know who you are and what's going on. And now one of my younger daughters came out of the driveway, Daddy, Daddy. And you're looking at a good 25 years. And I said, listen, I really can't help you. I'm sorry, my friend. You can contact my attorney, Jack McMahon.
Wait, did he snitch on him then?
So Tim Donaghy ended up being the FBI's only cooperating witness. Batista did not cooperate. He didn't testify. He didn't say anything to the feds about what had happened.
I think, from my knowledge, that they actually went to Timmy, and then he, you know, was cooperating with them to come after me or whoever else they thought was involved. I asked it on my phones. What proof did they have?
Tim had a photographic memory. If they asked him what case, who was refereeing, he remembered all the refs. He told them the refs. Investigators notified the NBA of what they had and what they were going to do, and within hours of that notification,
So I come to work, it's a Friday morning. Sometime that morning, I got a tip that the FBI was investigating a referee with the NBA and that the referee had been betting on games. I decided to call somebody I knew in the FBI in Washington, D.C. And the response was, you know, Murray, I think I saw something like that on my desk recently. To which I said, really?
Tim Donaghy, an NBA referee for 13 years, is being investigated for allegedly betting on games, some in which he officiated.
Whoa.
Wow. Like, really?
That's
like,
so lame.
This is what's going on, huh?
Donaghy officiated more than 700 games.
Tim was placing bets, not only on the NBA, he would bet on golf outings, baseball.
By the morning, I was getting phone calls from every talk show, particularly in the sports world, from New York City to Honolulu.
Wait, all sports. They just make an example out of some of these people, dude. I feel like if people think, dude, with all the money I could bet or I could do whatever, I could probably get like a good life of like 15 years of good living. 15 months, I'll tank that shit and just go for it. And people will go for it, so I don't know why you want to make it, like, I don't get it.
How many guys go on a date, and I'm sorry, no disrespect, miss, please, they know that they meet a hot girl, and
they seize the money? Dude, how my brain did it. You don't know how that shit works.
they're like, oh my God, I want to be with her. And then the next one, I'm like, why did I do this? Well, that's a part of my life that...
Dude, billionaires and like millions get sentenced for fraud, and they pay like 150K in fines and shit. Like, what are you on about?
I lived a good life, gambled with the best guys in the world, and I made a good living. The fact that I got into bed with him changed my whole life. The gambling part of it is the mistakes and the fuck-ups that occurred during it. Hurt sometimes. Listen, do I love the beauty of the number? I live for it. I do. I ain't gonna lie. It's like breathing to me.
Interesting.
But the damage that I caused, if someone says, oh, you devised this, you devised that. I devised a scandal.
Fucking up hundreds of millions of dollars of like overall revenue slash enjoyment for fans and shit for thousands of dollars. An absolute fucking disaster. What an absolute shame. Dumb fucks.